What's up, internet? So as you can see, different shirt, a new haircut. It's time to get working on my welding cart. So last time I told you I bought a welder. We went over that a little bit, and I need a welding cart. So I can buy one, but I got a welder and scrap metal, so I might as well build one. So the first thing that you really need is an idea or a sketch or a drawing. Now there's tons of them on the internet. So I just kind of scoured all over, looked at YouTube, kind of see what people did. And then it's all going to be dependent on what you have, what material you want to buy, and what type of welder you have. So let's get started on mine. Okay, so I got my welding table slash fab table kind of set up, and this is what I got. I got a whole bunch of this square tubing. It's like, I don't know, 1.5 to 2 inch square tubing. And it's not a very thick wall, but it doesn't have to be very big. So obviously the first thing you're gonna need to do is you're gonna need to make a square. And you can do this one of two ways. You can angle cut these. So do a 45-degree angle, and then those will butt up together and they'll be really nice. Or you can do more of a butt joint and do them straight together like that. One, I don't know if is stronger than the other. Again, I'm not a fabricator. When you angle cut them, oh, I got a piece right here that I've already cut. So when you angle cut it, when those two corners come together, it's very tight, and then when you grind it down, it looks very, very nice. You can do the same thing when you butt weld it, but then you also have the open end of the tubing that you have to worry about unless you're gonna cap it or something like that. So it's more preference. I'm going to angle cut it, and the first couple test pieces I did, I found, if you're a welder, I'm sure you already know this, having your pieces fit together tightly makes a huge difference. Any type of gaps and everything, your welding wire is going to want to push through that. It's going to be more of an edge than on two flat surfaces, and it's just going to be more difficult. So when you cut these, try to get them to fit very, very tightly together. Okay, so I got my base built, and yes, hear all that wonderful stuff inside? That's welding wire, because I screwed up my welds. But as the story goes, a grinder and paint makes me into a welder I ain't. And as you can see, I ground down the welds as best I could to flatten them out, look a little bit better. So that's my base. And then I'm gonna have my uprights, and they're just gonna weld straight on like that. And then I can build off of that. So after cutting and welding, here is my welding cart. The best part about not having a plan is you really can't screw it up because there was no plan to begin with. Got it painted, and I'll kind of go over everything I did with it. All right, starting up top, you can see I've got wood up here, and that's because I really didn't have a piece of sheet metal big enough for that, but the wood will create a nice barrier between the metal and everything else, so that'll be good. Just had some leftover angled metal that I used for that. Got the square tubing, had some round tubing here, and just bent that up so I've got hooks for all my cables. And then down here, again, this is the biggest piece of sheet metal that I had, and that's kind of where that will catch anything out front. The reason this is like that is I actually had a weld break already, so I just ground that down so I could put a new weld right there. To hold the tank, I just had a piece of flat bar that I kind of contoured around my knee and then bent in the vise and welded here, so the tank will sit right in that square, right against here. Now the only things that I had to buy were the wheels. Those were like $7 from Harbor Freight, a piece of threaded rod that I drilled, went all the way through the tubing since it was hollow, and then the front caster wheels, which again, those were like $6 from Harbor Freight. And here is the welder all set up. So you can see the Eastwood 180 sits right up there. There's a recess with the rubber feet, so it's stable. I just kind of have the welding pliers there. A bar on this side holds my clamps. The tray down there holds my magnetic clamps. The tray is just kind of there. And then up here, you can see the bottle sits right in there, and the chain goes around and just hooks into a notch on the back side. I've got hooks on the back for the power cables and my helmets. And this side's got hooks for my the MIG gun as well as the ground clamp cable. So all in all, fairly set up. It sits tall, but if I stand up, I can still see the machine really easy and operate it, and it's stable where it's not going to fall over or anything. So as you can see, for a very first fab project, never really fabbing anything from scratch, I think it went fairly well. There are definitely a lot of things I learned along the way, especially as far as the metal contraction and changing the angles on certain stuff. Would I have done some things differently? Maybe. And there's still stuff that I can add to the cart, and I can change stuff as I go, and I can learn from things. But all in all, I'm really happy with the way it turned out. And it was a good learning experience. Yes, I could have bought one and I would have been ready to go, but this gave me some ideas on how I could do stuff in the future and how I can do other things. So that's really where I'm at, and I'll get you guys next time.